Welcome to Ngosi Talk Shows. Lead from within.
Find your own voice.
Challenges we have had to overcome in 2020.
Find your own voice.
The world has become united by the unseen, knowing there are no guarantees for tomorrow.
Lead from within.
Find your own voice.
Let the world hear your voice and be filled within.
For the day has come for you to be a great leader.
The time has come to break away from the pain, distraction, experience the unthinkable.
Well, the day has come for you to be a great leader. Welcome to Ngosi Talk Shows, everyone. My name is Nomsa Clara Mbe. I'm your love harmonist at Hope Springs Eternal Introduction Agency. And at Ngosi Talk Show, we help you find your own voice and lead from within. Over to you, Carol Ann. Please introduce yourself to our audience.
Lovely, thank you, and good afternoon. Can you both mute because there's an echo? Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. That's better. Yeah. And it makes things a lot clearer. And yeah, so what I do is, as the writing facilitator, is I support women in becoming more productive with their writing. I help them to shine by getting their story written. And all of this has come about through my own journey of unlocking the writer within. So that's what I do, is I unlock the writer within. I help you find those words and get that expression out, that story that's within you that's there to be told can come out. Amanda.
My name's Amanda Cottrell. It's bright and early here in Canada. I am a teacher, an author, and an illustrator, and I have a business where I help people find their own unique creative capacities within themselves. It's called Art, Mindfulness and Creativity, and I love helping empower people through their own unique creative capacities because we are all creative.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Amanda. So our topic today is what makes a great leader. So I'm not going to comment on this comment. I just want to find out why Amanda chose this topic. And sounds like it's exciting. So please tell us, why did you choose this topic?
Well, I chose this. Oh, you have to mute yourself. I chose this topic because I was thinking a lot about the leadership that's been going on in the world in the last 2 years, and especially in Canada. I can't believe some of the things that our Prime Minister has done, and so I was really pondering this question, and then I also was thinking about well, we are all leaders, and I wrote a blog post on my website about what makes a good leader, and just really questioning it, like, what do we think makes a good leader, and how would we, if we could pick somebody to be our leader or in a leadership position, what qualities would we want them to have? And one of the things that I would want is like kindness, compassion, empathy, and the ability to bring people together that are having conflicting sides. Whereas what I've seen in the past 2 years is especially in Canada, is this like division of society. Whereas I think leadership qualities really are about bringing conflicting sides to not necessarily an agreement, but a place where they're not like so angry at each other and spreading hate, like a place where we can accept, not necessarily understand, but accept, right? So I think leadership comes in all different shapes, sizes, forms. Like we can have leaders in a classroom. We can have leaders in sports teams. There's leaders in like your children's sports, as like the liaison or whatever for a hockey team or a soccer team or football in Europe. And I think that we can find leaders in anything, in your work, in your job, in your community. And really, I was thinking about like, what qualities do you like? Because I know there's been some leaders in my life that I could do without, and probably have from some post-traumatic stress from having to be under them and work under them. And if you think about it, like, what qualities do you really like in somebody who's been in a leadership role for you? Because those are the leaders that we want and those are the leaders that we need to strive to be as individuals, because we each, I think each and every one of us, are also leaders within ourselves, and we all have leadership qualities. So yeah, it was my ponderings, it was my blog post, and yeah, I'd like to know what you guys think as well.
I love that. We are all leaders, and in many ways we are, you know, and it is just about having a vision and being able to see that vision through and bring people along with you, you know. And I like what you said about bringing conflicting sides together, rather than creating division. But there was something that I learned once, and I can't remember it exactly. I think this is it. It sort of feels right. But leadership is having the will and capacity to rally men and women toward a common purpose with confidence. And it was that word rally, so that bringing people together, you're rallying them towards a common purpose. And it's and I really like that definition spoke to me. And although there's many sort of different definitions, and but it is that ability to bring people together towards that vision that you have. And it is about having a vision, and that's where you're going. And something that it got me up today and kept me going is because I just sort of led there thinking, I can't do this. There's things I need to get done towards getting my writing retreat, you know, getting that fully booked out and getting people on there. And apart, I was going, oh, I can't do this. And then I thought, well, there's this vision I've had for ages. And all of a sudden, one of our ex-prime ministers came into my head, Margaret Thatcher. You know, the lady's not for turning. And that phrase just stuck in my mind. And it's thought, yeah, to me, she was a great leader. I know a lot of people question that, but for me, I thought she was a great leader. She had a vision, she stuck to it. And I was like, come on, Caroline, you've had this vision. Are you just going to wither and just let it go? Or are you going to step up and keep going with it? And that's what got me up. So I think a great leader can actually inspire you. And it is, as you say, Amanda, it's looking at their qualities. And different leaders have different qualities. And so it's looking at which leaders inspire you and what are the qualities that they have that you see in them that you like. And it's aspiring to have those qualities. But there's many different qualities. And I think one of the main ones for me is self-awareness, and they prioritize personal development. For me, that is key, because they're willing to grow, they're willing to expand themselves, get to know themselves more, and have that awareness of themselves, but also sharing it with others and helping others to develop as well, rather than just keeping it to themselves. And that's what I've realized that I'm doing with my writing retreat, because it's an in-person one. It's a chance to get together after all this isolation and lockdown, and get into a space where, with writers we can write and support each other. So for some reason my mind has gone blank, but that's okay. It will come back again. Namsa, while my blankness is here, perhaps you'd like to fill the space.
Oh yes, I like when you say a true leadership is someone who has the ability to bring people together, someone who has a vision and who inspires people. Carol Ann and Amanda, you spoke about the true leadership with politics in Canada, around the world. You know what? Guess what? If you are looking for true leadership when it comes to politicians, they are hard to find. You can't. Not everyone is a leader, is meant to be a leader. Some people they control. So when politicians basically, when they are campaigning, they tell you everything that you want to hear. But once they are selected, there are few leaders who have changed the countries, who have entered made an oath, and they've changed the countries, what they've promised people, they've changed that. That it's harder to find them even at work, businesses. Not everyone that is a leader is a true leader. True leader basically does not manipulate. And I've seen people like sometimes I used to go to this football club, and my daughter, she came with me because she loves she wanted to. So we traveled all the way from London, but then when we arrived at the football club, and this guy said to me, the business event is a very, very serious business event, and we don't allow children. And I was like, but she's like 13. And it was like, we don't allow children. So my daughter anyway wanted to go to McDonald's, and she was like, I saw McDonald's, so you go have your meeting for 1 hour, whatever hours you want to have. I'm going to McDonald's. So she went to McDonald's and had her McDonald's. Then I was like, okay. So then I went to Andy Harrington. I saw parents bringing their children. And what's that guy's name, Carol? And I think you did a training with him. He does marketing training. And what's his name? He works with Andy Harrington, and he does the marketing. What is it? Is it Simon? Simon who? He does training for marketing. I did training with him, and he basically said he allows children. These are professional people who are millionaires. They said they allow children. And he said, I allow children. But then he was telling us a story that this man came with his son because he didn't have a babysitter, and he came in. And he said, as a true leader, I had to play my part to allow his son to come in, because I knew this man wanted to learn, and he wanted to do well and go and empower people with his business. So I allowed him as a true leader. And he came in, and his son, Simon was explaining to others how marketing gets done. And this 10-year-old, he had his laptop, he's meant to work on his game laptop. So he decided not to tell everyone that he was listening to the teaching. So he took the notes, everything. And while Simon was busy trying to get adults to understand what he was saying, the software and things. And the boy was like, okay, I've got it. I've done it. I've created it. So he said in that way, he opened his eyes that he needs to allow children, because this is our next generation. And that's what a true leader does. And when I went to that event, and I was like, my daughter has all the qualities. anyone can want should have come in and learned from this. And when I started comparing the events, I was like, but there was nothing special about these events that they will say. If they say we don't allow younger children who cry, I can understand. But then I realized that not everyone is a leader. When we talk about leadership, it goes deep. As someone like Carol Ann, a true leader does not seek followers. And I'm sure you guys have seen in Ghost Talk Show speakers come in and go. And the reason the speakers come in and go is they are not actually seeking, some of them are not seeking to save. They want to know how many followers does Ngozi Talk Show have. They want to know whether when they speak, their videos is going to go viral. And that's why people basically don't stay here for a very long time. And that's what I've noticed, that if you are here to save the audience, I've had the audience sending me messages saying, oh, this person changed my life. This person has changed my life. And you guys, you come here, you speak. But if you were looking for followers, you'd be like, 1,000 followers. I don't think so on YouTube. We want 100K. We want to go viral. So you would have been gone. But it shows that you guys are actually here to save. You are actually here not seeking followers. You are actually here to empower people. So that's what for me a true leader does, like inspire. They empower people. They don't just say, okay, I've got 100 followers, I've got thousands and thousands followers. They don't seek that. For me, like myself, I don't seek followers. When somebody is listening to me, I just go all in and deliver whatever I can, because for me to be here, I was able to listen to somebody who empowered me, who didn't care about what the words that were coming in their mouth. They cared about empowering, they cared about leading, they cared about helping me finding my own voice when I was struggling in that shell. So they cared about bringing me out and helping me to become the person that I am today. So that's what I see as a true leader. Over to you, Amanda.
I agree with you. I think one of the things that I've always worked towards, you need to mute because it's is not necessarily like if you are a true leader, even if you just help one person, you know you've done your job. And so like with my books, I've had people write to me and be like, thank you so much, this book helped my child. And I was like, if my book helped one child, then it did its job. Like that, I'm happy. I have a wonderful life. I'm so grateful for everything in my life. So if my book can help one child, then that's fantastic. And I hope that that continues to grow. But I also think that that true leaders, they're the people who will pick up garbage in the street when no one else is looking. They're the people who will lend a helping hand when no one's looking and they're not getting any notice for it. And I think those people are so genuine and kind and caring, and those are the people that we really want in leadership positions. But I also think I'm doing this course right now, and they were talking about leadership again last night, which I think was funny because I had already picked this topic because of my blog post. But they were saying that there's times where you also need to be a follower, and I was like, oh, that makes sense too, because there needs to be times where you're the one that's like taking charge, but there's also times where you need to step back and observe and learn. And when you can step back and observe and learn from others, that shows qualities of a true leader as well, because you know you don't know everything. You are learning along the way just like everyone else. And so there definitely needs to be times where you sit back and you follow and look at who you are following and why you're following them. So in my course last night, they asked the question, who are you following and what are their qualities? And I talked about one of my friends who I think is a very empowering person who built a jewelry business up from the ground and now it sells worldwide. And I said, I follow her because not necessarily like, but like she's one of my really good friends, but I think that she's a really good person to watch, to get ideas from and to learn from. And she's just unapologetically herself. And I think that's such a good quality to have, is to truly stand in your own power and be you and not care what anybody else thinks. And I think that's a quality that so many of us struggle with, is we're like, oh, did I offend that person? Or, oh, like, am I standing in my own true power? Am I standing in who I am and what I stand for? And I think so often people just go with the crowd no matter what's happening. And if you can stand in your own power, even when you don't necessarily agree with something, even though the rest of the crowd is going that way, I think that's really a true quality of leadership, because you can think for yourself and you can think critically and you can say, you know what, that might not be for me. I'm just gonna go and take this different path that I know is true for myself. And I think that's a really amazing quality to have, because I think there are times where we need to learn to follow. And like you said, you guys have talked to coaches or gone to workshops on marketing, and that's when you're being a follower or like a learner, right? Because you're following these people who are inspiring, who've done what you want to do, who can teach you to get to that next level and to level up your vibration and to level up your marketing strategy or your business or whatever it is, right? And so there's definitely times where we need to be like, okay, I don't know everything. I'm going to go and I'm going to learn from these other people because they are empowering leaders.
I like what you're saying about a leader actually stepping back and being a follower, because it is that both those roles. It is being able to switch to stepping up to being that leader, but then she says just standing back and willing to listen and to learn and to follow. And that flexibility is really important, because that way you're listening to others. And this is where, as a leader, you need to have those listening skills to listen what it is that other people are wanting, especially if you're a leader within your company. Because I read today that 79% of employees will quit their jobs because of lack of appreciation from leaders. So it's a leader, is about listening to their employees, and it's also about appreciating them. So it's about having gratitude for what they do and letting them know. And I wonder how many of you can resonate with that, because I know I certainly can. When I was teaching, it just felt like everything that I was doing that was working was never acknowledged, because it was always, well, we need to do this and we need to do that, and this hasn't been done. And it was always looking at what hasn't been done rather than acknowledging what had worked well in the beginning. And so there was I never felt appreciated with what I had done. And it was only through one particular person who was a part of the senior management team, but he was also part of my team. He was one who kept giving me encouragement and would show appreciation. And that for me was amazing. And that's, that did keep me going. But other than that, not sure what happened there, but something popped in. And things just often pop in, don't they, just to distract you. And I remembered what it was I was saying about, I wanted to say about my writing retreat, where I said I was actually making sure I'm getting that running, that is going to run, because it's not about me sitting back with the skills and the tools that I have and just using them for myself, because that isn't about leadership. Leadership is then stepping up and sharing them with others and empowering them. So that's what this writing retreat is about. It's empowering them to be able to write their story through having that safe space and that big cradle of support, because writing your own story is something that is very emotional, and a lot of people they back away from that. So this is where I've realized it is me stepping up and supporting others and focusing on that rather than me going into, oh, what's going on for me. It's not about me, it's about other people and about that vision that I have of supporting people to get their words out and to get their message out, get their story out. And what you were saying, Nomsa, because it goes back to what I enjoyed about teaching, but empowering everybody within personal development and allowing children into events. I took my eldest granddaughter, she's now 22, nearly 23, but when she was 7, I took her to a personal development event. And the person running it was really gracious and, allowed her to be there. She had her books, she had her teddies, she had a blanket, and I was sat at the front, so I had space on the floor. And she literally created herself a space with books around her and her teddies, but she ended up on the stage with the speaker, and she was mixing with people and listening. But and she got a lot from that, and then she subsequently went to quite a few other events. But it does take a great leader to say and accept a child into their event. And there's been a few over the years that have done that, because I've done it with my other grandchildren as well. And they have gotten something really amazing from it. And they brought something to it for the other participants. Because some of the other participants, there's a few sort of came up to me at that first one and said, oh, wasn't sure about seeing a child here, but actually they were quite impressed with the way she was behaving and also what she was getting from it, And it actually inspired them with thinking, well, actually, yes, children ought to be able to access this. They're never too young to start picking this up. And it's enabled me over the years to have that personal development style conversation with them. And all the phrases that go there, and they use it on me as well, which is absolutely brilliant. So yes, certainly, if you're somebody who's running events, do think about how can children fit in this? Would you allow children to fit into this or slot in? If you're going to an event, would you take your child with you? And yes, it is about how do they behave in that environment, but how are you supporting them to be there and to get the best out of it? As I said, she had her blanket, her books around, her teddies around, and and another one that she went to, she had a book where she was writing things out from and drawing, So she had activities that she could do as well as just sitting, listening, curling up and just having a sleep if she wanted to, just sort of, or just going around the room and listening in that way. So is there a potential leader that you can bring out by empowering your child and taking your child to personal development events? Or are you actually squashing that potential leader? It's, there's a thought there. So who wants to pick up from there? What are you hearing?
I think Carol Annie say I do understand when you say there's a lack of appreciations when you basically work with people, like people leaving jobs. When I left the football, I got this job, and every single day there was a complaint, and I was like, like 9 to 5 jobs, and I was like, seriously? Do people basically spend time complaining what hasn't done and not recognizing what has not been done? And I left, and I went to find this other job, and this woman all the time, every time when she gives me feedback, she should be complaining. And I would be like giving it all, and I would be like, they're selfish. And then until she left, and when she left, this man took over this guy, and he was like, do you know where you work? They actually like you. And I was like, no, I don't know. And I was like, actually, when I do basically auditing every month, you always get 90 something percent or 99% because they are happy. And but before it was the different manager, she made me feel like I wasn't enough. I wasn't doing enough for her and things like that. And then that's when I realized, oh, actually, nothing has changed. I'm still doing the same thing that I was doing before she left. So that means sometimes it could be some other people, they don't know how to show appreciation. So that's why sometimes when we guys get achievement, I always put the achievement in the group, and I always look at how you guys respond to that achievement. It's like, well done, Nomsa. And I always laugh when I get that message, well done, Nomsa. I'm like, do these people actually have a clue how much hard work they do? It's never, wow, I'm so pleased. Well done to us. We've done really, really well. It's always well done, Nomsa. And I always, God, make them realize they are part of this. I always pray and say, God, make them realize they are part of this. They need to start appreciating what they do, because maybe you guys gonna change now. I've let it all out. When I put the achievement, you guys have to say, well done to us, because your present, it means a lot, and you guys may not realize it. And it's like the other day, Amanda put a message, well done, Nomsa, when I said I got the thing, the award, and I was like, I just laughed again. I was like, these guys have no idea how what it takes to actually give that 1 hour and just give it all to the audience. It's just so much work, and they basically appreciate themselves. I was like, okay, God, they will one day. They will learn to say, okay, well done to us. So hopefully you guys gonna learn to appreciate yourself. And I like it when Carol Anna, that's why I was saying in leader, finding a true leader is really, really tough. It's like myself, to be able to learn to appreciate you guys is something that I had to, uh, is something that I had to look at the things that were done to me, and I'm like, I'll go in and go all in and do my best. And when you do your best and somebody comes back and giving you a negative attitude, so I'm like, I don't want to be this person that people, they come in, they do their best, they basically they're true leaders, because you guys are true leaders, and then all I'll be saying is negative things. It's not very nice, and the audience are actually benefiting, and you guys are inspiring and empowering people. So it's not very nice when somebody doesn't encourage somebody to be where they are. And like Amanda, I like it when you were saying is sometimes you have to be a follower, because I've realized that I'm going to an event, actually, it's a dating event. Next week, next Friday, the 18th. So when this woman called me, she said, what do you expect? So I was like, I'm a matchmaker. And she said to me, what do you expect? So I said to her, listen, when I come to the event, don't treat me like a matchmaker or a dating coach. I'm coming as a follower. I'm coming to learn. I'm not coming to say I know it all, because I've realized when I follow you guys, I learn things when I decide to step back and be a follower, I learned so much. I was following Carol Ann. She was doing exercises. I didn't go there and saying I'm gonna go, I'm a coach, I'm this, I have a business. I went there as a true follower, and she was doing exercises, brain exercises. I went on YouTube and starting to do basically to learn more about brain exercises and stuff. And I discovered things that I didn't know I could do, basically doing exercises and stuff. So I agree with you, Amanda, when you say sometimes you have to step back and be a follower. And I find myself when I do that, I don't have a mind of like sometimes when I have a business, someone comes to me and say, okay, I'm teaching this. Would you? I'm like, yes, sure. If I have time, I'm following. So I can learn, because when you follow somebody and you learn, you're sitting on the other end, no responsibilities. Your job is just to listen and hold a pen. So I love that. I get to learn when I do that. Oh,
I really struggle with the term follower because in my head it's like somebody who just blindly follows and doesn't think critically for themselves. But in my head, I just turn that follower term into learner. And sometimes you have to step back and be a learner, because I mentally am struggling with the term follower, but I understand when I was taking that course last night why they were saying follower. Like there's times when you need to be a follower, because at first I was like, what are you talking about? You need to always think critically for yourself and not just blindly follow. But their term of follower is in my head what a learner is. There's times when you need to step back and be a learner. And it could just be my own problem with the specific term, because I have issues with different terms sometimes. But I like the idea of stepping back and being a learner, because you don't always know everything. And I like how you said, Nomza, that even though you have your business, you're successful at it, that you still are like, hey, if I have time, I'm definitely in there to learn. I think that is such a good quality of a leader, is that you're always willing to learn, as that shows true leadership, right? The ability and the willingness to learn. That's something that you want. If you are the leader, you want the people who are following you or learning from you to have. That's a quality you want them to have. But then you also have to model that as the leader in other situation, is like, I don't know everything, I'm going to go and learn from other people. And I think that's something really key to model to people, and to model to children too. You guys were talking about kids being in courses, and I was thinking back to when I was doing my master's degree. I was 9 months pregnant in my second course, and I had to like present very, very pregnant. And then I had my daughter, and then I presented online and participated in the class online, even though it was an in-class course. And then after a few weeks, I started bringing my baby with me to the university, because I was taking the course, and the professor was making accommodations for me so that I could still do the course, because I was on mat leave, but I was doing a night course. And so I wanted to be in class with everyone. And I took my baby with me till she was, I think, like 6 weeks old, once a week. And it was just a once a week class, but being able to take her for those 3 hours, and she didn't make a peep, and I just would sit at the back and listen and participate. And I thought that was so key. And then there was another time I really wanted to take a course too. And I said, oh, but I have my daughter. And I think she was like 3 or 4 at the time. And the person's like, just come. So I like brought her iPad, and I brought her a blanket and some other toys to play with. And I just let her watch a movie. Right? So there, even if you have a kid, you can't be like, oh, I can't go to that because I have my kid. There, if you have the right leaders, they'll find accommodations for you to learn from them, in whatever capacity it is. So I think that that's a good quality in leaders as well, is the ability to be flexible with people's lives, because that's something that I know I appreciated so much when I was learning from others, was that flexibility, especially being a single mom from when my daughter was 2 years old on, to be able to just bring her with me when I wanted to do something if it was a time when I had her. And I think that's something that we really, if you're striving to be a leader, you really need to consider is like, if you can't accommodate the people who are learning from you's children, what is it that you could do to allow them to still come? Could you get somebody to be like a babysitter during your course so that parents could come and listen to the course and be there, and then their kids are entertained by the babysitter? And I think as my daughter gets older, she's almost 12, which is babysitting age, if I do run courses, I'll be like, if you have kids, my daughter will take care of them, and you can still come in and be part of the course, and she will lead that, because I think that's so important, is to be accommodating to others and accommodating to their personal struggles and their personal growth.
That's so right. It's being accommodating, isn't it? As well as maintaining that path along which you're going and that vision. But something I read, leadership is an art. There's no right way to do it. It's an attitude and intuition built over time. So it's recognizing there is no right way to do it, and stepping up and just daring to be different. You know, maybe others won't be so accommodating, and that was great that that lecture was being accommodating for you, Amanda, because some wouldn't. They go, oh no, and they'd be so rigid in their thinking. But if you've got that flexibility, that being accommodating, it's amazing what can open up. And Rosalind Torres, from her TED at BCG talk, said, great leaders dare to be different. They don't just talk about risk taking, they actually do it. And one of the leaders shared with me the fact that the most impactful development comes when you're able to build the emotional stamina to withstand people telling you that your new idea is naive, reckless, or just plain stupid. And I think that I love just seeing that. And it was like, yes, a leader can just take that criticism. They've got that emotional stamina to not take it personally, to recognize that it is someone else's opinion. It's not the truth. It's that other person's truth. And so if you can withstand those criticisms, listen to them. You don't need to take them on board, but you can listen to them, because maybe there's something in there that you might go, oh, that's something for me to look at. But you don't need to let it wear you down or stop you. And I think that's something that where a lot of us could perhaps train that leadership skill within us, because sometimes I know I've been stopped just by a comment that I've gone, oh, and I can feel it. You see that body movement, that sinking. And it's taken me a while to get over that emotional reaction to it and thought, rather than just listening to it and going, okay, that's interesting. How can I work with that and move on from it? But I know I've let things stop me in the past for quite a while. You know, maybe some of the things for years, until I've then looked at it again from a different perspective and thought, well, actually, yeah, I get it. And I don't need to let that impact me. It was a comment. It was constructive criticism. It was just something that was said, but I needed to be aware of it at the time. And I need to be aware of it now. But does it need to stop me? Really? You know? And so it is being able to have that different perspective. And I know we've spoken about change your perspective, change your life. And I also brought that into a conversation on Sunday with somebody who was interviewing me. We were talking about change your perspective, change your life in terms of writing, getting your story written. And it is just having that change of perspective. And for me, something's shifted in my brain just recently, because the other day I actually thought for the last few weeks I haven't been able to get out, get and do the shopping I've wanted to. I know I've got access to a car sort of now and again, but it just hasn't worked. And my daughter's been out and she's done shopping, and I let myself sink into, I haven't got what I want, you know, and really sunk into that victim mode. And then just the other day, where are we? I think it was yesterday morning, I just looked at something. I looked at it, I thought, hang on a second. No, it was Sunday I did this. I thought, why don't I do online shopping? You know, for the last couple of years in lockdown, my daughter did the shopping. She went out. She did some bits of online shopping. I never took it on board myself to do. I have no idea why. It was just some way of thinking that I had. But something shifted. And on Sunday, I just thought, well, why don't I give it a go? I did. For me, it was like some risk, and I dared to take it. It was easy. And I've got today the bits of shopping that I need to keep me going. I feel different. It has. It's like changed my perspective in terms of I can't to yes, I can, because I've done it. And it's like a whole world's opened up to me. And a part of me is going, but why didn't I do this before? I have no idea. Let it go. Let it go. Because now I am doing it. And there was something else as well. I had I've got one of these external cameras for my laptop. I've had it for about 2 or 3 years, and I've never really known how to use it or to put it. I thought I fiddled around with it, put it in the wrong place it doesn't work, and I've just put it to one side. I got it out yesterday, and I literally just thought, oh, I wonder if I did this and I did that, I wonder if that works. Put it on top of my laptop, and there it was, and it was working. And I'm thinking, what just happened? You know, and I called my granddaughter in, and she said, well, yeah, Nan, that's how they do it. And I said, but I couldn't see it before. And I hadn't asked anybody. But again, some perspective has changed within me, the way of looking at something. And things have changed. My life's changed. I now know how to use that. And the picture, the quality is different. This is actually on my mobile phone, but that's for my laptop. And using that external camera has a much better quality than my actual laptop itself of picture. So again, it's that willingness to change perspective, allow yourself to open up, do the work on yourself such that you get those different perspectives. Your whole life changes. It becomes exciting, you know. So yeah, dare to be different. Step up. There was another one. It goes, leadership is speaking up, stepping up, and standing up to make a difference in something that matters to you and makes a difference to others. So as you were saying, yes, Amanda, it's about being yourself, stepping up, standing up in your own power. And I love it, Nomsa. We all say thank you to you, because you're the one that has actually stood up and has stood for this show continuing. And I'm hearing you that, okay, we're the ones that have supported you, and we've stood up for it as well. So I take on board what you've said. But I do know that that's where we're coming from when we say, well done, Nomsa, because you've led the way in it continuing, but we've supported the way. So we've been a part of it. And so pass on the back. Yes, I take that and say, well done. to all of us for this show continuing and for getting the number of viewers and followers that it's getting, you know, because it's just growing. It's just growing. So yeah, well done, Nonsa. Well done, Amanda.
Thank you, Carol Ann. Sometimes it's nice to hear people appreciate themselves, because even God will be happy hearing that you guys appreciate yourself. So yeah, that is a true leader. I don't like people to say, oh, it's all about Nomsa. You know, because the talk show, there is so much that are involved. When somebody comes in, you give it all. So basically, we are creating principles. You guys, even when I'm not here, I know that there's somebody that can step up, basically, because the talk show is not just one person, so which is good. We have a great leadership within us, and I think I agree with you, Carol Ann, as well. Dare to be different. There are some people that are great leaders, but they end up being scared of what people gonna think about them. So it is nice for somebody to show their true authenticity and dare to be different, because you are here to save. And if you save with fear, you're not gonna go all in. So it is nice to create principles that, as a leader, that I'm gonna dare to be different, and I'm gonna create principles that, and these principles, they will not be violated by me or not by anyone else. And also prioritize to save people. A great leader, their priority is to save and to make sure that they're empowering people so they can become who they want to become, and help people find their purpose. And that's why I believe that's what we are here to host the talk shows. And I had a business event before lockdown, and these people had an idea of coming to a dating relationship coach, and they just gonna dress up and uh, look good and sit there and take notes. And Des was like, seeing me taking the chains out, and he was like, what? And I was like, we're not here for fun, we're just here to break the chains. So I don't want these people going back and repeating the same mistake that they are here for. And this guy, he actually cried because he thought he was coming here to just to sit down for Nomsa to talk and talk, and it was like, oh, that's not how it works. So we are here to break the chains, and we are here. We don't want to be followers. We want to be different. We want to, when we step outside, we approach people, we're going on dates. We want to be different. We want to be authentic. So I think it's very, very important for somebody to actually, a great leader, to be as authentic as possible so you can save people. Because if you don't have courage to be authentic, and you don't have a courage, basically self-awareness of who you're becoming. And Carol, I'm gonna tell you a story. I started doing my brain exercises every single day. I do meditate, I do exercises, and I go to church, and I'm so loud. And everyone, every week when I go for the past 3 weeks, when somebody says speak to me, they preach, and they preach something that relate to me, or the bad habit that I used to say, I say amen. And when I say amen, it's me saying, I'm not going to do that anymore. And you are just confirming it to me that the bad habit is not good for, as a leader, it's not good as a child of God. So I have to say amen. And every week, for the past 3 weeks, I had somebody coming and say, you are very loud. And I'm like, have you just noticed? I'm very loud every single day. I'm finding out my personality. And because I'm doing my brain exercises, there are some things like, when you do things, you fear about going all in and what people are going to think. So when I do these brain exercises and meditating, it actually helps me to become who I want to become. I feel inside when somebody speaks to me, I'm able to have that courage to receive it. But before, I would just look at everyone else sitting next to me. Are they saying amen? Are they agreeing? My church is very quiet. So now I'm getting all very loud. And I've had 3 people in a row say, coming to me, say, Nomsa, you're very loud. I'm like, I'm agreeing with the preacher. When somebody preaches to me the good things that I've meant to receive, I'm saying amen. When somebody is telling me that I shouldn't have the ego, I shouldn't have this, I'm saying amen because I'm agreeing with the attitude that this attitude is not good for me, and I'm making a promise in my heart that I don't want to be like this. And if I'm saying it out loud, I basically, I want God to bless me. And if I want God to bless me and I'm saying it out loud to negativity, I have to say amen. So the brain exercises, amen, they are working. They are working, and I don't know what is gonna, but I kind of, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying just meditating and just going all in and just discovering myself. I think I'm glad that though you kept the event secret, and I found out last minute. I'm glad that I did find out, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna watch Carol Ann. And also what you've done is like allowing people, because I've noticed now there are some people, like when they do the events you get like 5 days to watch it, or some people they delete it same time. And I'm glad that you let audience actually, you gave us time to watch it, because when you were doing live I was busy, but then I was able to go back, and that really helps as well. So I'm getting really laughed. My personality is coming out, and I can see, yes, I can see it. My family used to call me crazy when I used to sing or go on stage. I just go crazy, basically, not worrying about what things, and just worrying about serving and entertaining. And that's what I've realized. I sort of, because when somebody makes a comment, we tend to shut down. So as growing up, I tended to shut down my personality. So the exercises are basically showing me that no, I can be who I want to be. I don't have to be afraid. I don't have to be ashamed of who I am. So thank you so much. So yeah, I love it.
I love that you love it. And it's so beautiful to see you coming out to play, because that's what it's about. It's allowing yourself to come out and shine and to step forward and to speak out your truth. And that's what's happening. And that is so beautiful. And, and it's that willingness to learn and to take on new activities. They have no idea what they're doing, but at the end of the day, you're stepping into them and you're finding that it's making a difference. So it's beautiful to hear. So I just really like to, I think, leave with one last point for myself is leadership is translating vision into reality. And when I read that this morning, it's again, that's what helped me keep going. I have a vision, and it's creating that into reality. And all of a sudden I see myself as, well, that's a leader. So I now see myself as a leader. I can do that. And it's giving me that that confidence just to keep going, because before I didn't see myself as a leader or think of myself as a leader. So I think you need to rethink what a leader is, because there's many different styles, there's many different qualities, and it's recognizing what leadership qualities do you have. Because I think, was it Amanda, you said in the beginning, we're all a leader in some way. So what is it you're actually leading? And you don't need to be one of these big leaders with big followers. Just a small group you could be leading, 1 or 2 people, you're still leading. So just recognize, where are you a leader, and acknowledge it and enjoy the journey. Come out to play. Amanda, what about you? What would you like to say?
Yeah, I think that we all need to recognize that there's so many different versions of leadership, and when you come across a leader that you maybe struggle with, what are those qualities that you're struggling with, and then how can you make sure that when you're in a leadership position, you're giving out the qualities that you value in a good leader. And I think for me, it's the kindness, compassion, empathy, it's flexibility, it's the ability to find a common ground between two conflicting sides. And I think those are qualities of true leadership and good leadership, and also the ability to know when it's time to step back and learn from others.
That is so true. Thank you so much, Amanda. For me, basically, I'll leave you with this. Basically, if you want to be a great leader, you have to think about our next generation, their destiny. Whatever your action, whatever you do, are you empowering people basically to help our next generation? Because it's very, very important to save with grace, to save knowing that you are not seeking to be recognized. And that's why basically when we come here to Ngozi Talk Show, we give it all in because we don't want people to recognize us. We want somebody to tell us basically what does our talk do for them, does empower them, and that's what we want to do. So if you are leading, please lead with grace, and just be who you want to be, and create that true authenticity within yourself, and not wanting to control. And I think I did yesterday the talk about marriages. Basically, when you if for a relationship to work, you have to give up control and be a leader in that relationship. Leadership works in so many ways. And also, I spoke about housewives who are at home. They are leaders, but they don't see themselves as leaders because they get to look after the kids. They get to make sure their husbands are happy. So it's a big thing being a leader. So as long as you recognize it yourself that I'm a leader, then your destiny is set and your purpose is set. So we are here at Ngozi Talk Show Monday to Friday, 1 p.m. UK time. Please follow us on our social media. And if you want to get in touch with our coaches, please do. Find your own voice, lead from within. That's what happens when you follow Ngozi Talk Shows. And live with grace, everyone, and God bless.